Okay, now this is going to be put as a loot crate video, but it's more of a discussion video. I've seen other people talking about it, quite a few people. The two that stick out most in my mind are people like Tidarium Hanger and Bobby Skullface. And I'm pretty sure there's some others, but I can't remember who right off the top of my head. But just suffice it to say, we're going into this with that. Now, Takara Tomy is the main company that makes Masterpiece Transformers. Everybody pretty well knows I love Masterpiece Transformers. The problem here, people have talked about how Takara's been screwing it up. Well, to me, they've been screwing it up. And being that I've only been doing this since June 2018, we'll just start it there. What I'll do, I'll start with some basic definitions, a quick backstory, and then my opinions. Keyword, opinions. These are my opinions on where Takara's screwing the pooch. Let's just be real about that. For the definitions and backstory. Now, I love you people to death. Not in a creepy way, not in a sexual way, but the platonic, you're like all my brothers and sisters, blah, 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 blah. I love you guys to death, but I absolutely hate how people screw up the whole thought of the customer is always right. My great-grandfather was the one who explained it to me, and he ran a small country store out in the middle of BFE for practically his entire life. The man was old as Methuselah when he died, and he was the one that told me this. So I figured his definition is the best one to work from because it makes more sense. God bless you, Marshall Field and John Wanamaker and all those goobers who popularized the customer's always right, but you're full of crap. And people have screwed that saying into the dirt as far as I'm concerned. Most people you hear even mention it anymore are people who think they're entitled to more than they actually are. Now, the definition that I work from, and this was plucked from my great-grandfather's backside, so it's old and musty and it smells like cobwebs. We'll just leave it at that. But the definition that I go by is when you say the customer is always right, yes, the customer knows what they want, but this is more guidelines by which people are better able to sell product. People who manufacture product and people who sell product. It's a guideline. The customer, this is the definition, the customer knows what they will spend their money on and how much they are willing to spend for that product. And we're talking can spend on it as in how much they can afford, and if they have the money, how much they will spend on said product. Okay? So that applies to anything. Like if I walk into Walmart and I want to buy a vacuum cleaner, that's usually going by what I can spend on on a vacuum cleaner. I'm not going to blow a metric boatload of money on a vacuum cleaner. That's something you use you don't constantly use it. It's something you're going to run across the floor, hide in the closet. And especially with me driving a truck, I buy a new vacuum cleaner like once a year because I figure I've worn the one I've got out. And it's one of those little Armor All car vacuums. You plug it into the socket, blah, 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 blah. Now, before I get going into this, I'm gonna go ahead and put this out there. Anybody who wants to quote me on any of this, you have my permission. If you hear something in this, if you want to make a little quote mashup, that's fine. Just don't quote mine me. I hate that. Don't take something I say out of context and use it wrongly. I will not be happy. But anyway, okay, so Takara Tomy, we'll start with a brief history. Takara Tomy came up with transforming robot toys way back in the late 70s, early 80s. And then Hasbro came along, saw these, and said, "Ooh, that's a toy we could probably sell in our country. Problem is, our kids aren't into piloted mechs." Now, they were wrong. Gundams are a thing. Piloted mechs are really popular with a lot of people. But back then, the whole idea was, our kids aren't really going to be into the whole idea of piloted mechs. Sorry, I need to turn the AC up so that the truck will actually crank and run AC. But anyway, they're like, yeah, we'll come up with a story. So they came up with the planet of Cybertron, Autobots, Decepticons, who's the good guys, who's the bad guys. Took off like a shot. Became really popular. Okay, so fast forward, 30 something years now that it's been around. And here we are in the year 2019. Now, I got into this last year, June 2018. The first ones I was more into Power of the Primes, Combiner Wars, and whatnot, because those were Hasbro, those were domestically available, XYZ. But I did get some Masterpiece Transformer. I got one Masterpiece Transformer, one KO, and one Masterpiece Style. Now, when I say Masterpiece, I'm usually referring to the style. Now, Masterpiece is the brand that Takara Tomy calls it. They are Masterpiece Transformers. That's fine. Now, when I do it, it's Masterpiece Style because third-party companies have taken the Masterpiece Style and made really, really nice Transformers. So, now, where Takara is screwing the pooch, in my personal opinion, is this. They are, and I'm looking at the website just so I can get it right. They are up to, starting from MP-1, which is Convoy, which that's what the Japanese have always called Optimus Prime, is Convoy instead of Prime. From MP-1 all the way up to MP-47 they've got listed as coming soon. MP-47, that's how long it took them to get to another G1 Arc Crew robot. Now, quickly, for those of you who don't understand what I mean when I say Arc Crew, the Arc Crew are the Autobots and Decepticons. Well, you could call them Arc Crew and Nemesis Crew, but I just go Arc Crew as the first 3 episodes, all the Autobots and all the Decepticons that showed up in the first pilot episodes. So when your Arc Crew, you had 18 Autobots and I think it was about 11 Decepticons. Reflector kind of counts as 3, even though it's kind of iffy as to whether he's 1 or 3. Because you had Megatron, Soundwave, Skywarp, Starscream, Thundercracker, Rumble, Frenzy, Ravage, and not Frenzy, Rumble, Laserbeak, and Ravage, and then 1, 2, 3. So 11, Reflector count, I'm going to count him as 3. So 11 Decepticons and 18 Autobots. Okay, so that's in the neighborhood of, that's close to 30. That's close to 30 Transformers. I can't do the math in my head. I just got off work. I'm too tired. Deal with it. I'm taking all the arguments I'm making and all the quotes I'm doing from people like Bobby Skullface, Tidarium Hanger, and everybody else. I'm taking their information as they researched it. I'm taking it as good faith. So lend me the same courtesy. Okay, so you had that many Autobots and Decepticons, getting close to 30. So it's at least 21 plus 8. Yeah, about 29. Well, we'll say, okay, 29. So 29 Autobots and Decepticons for the first 3 episodes. They did add more during season 1, like the original 3 Dinobots and things of that nature. Now, one thing you have to remember is Japan was making all these weird Autobots and Decepticons because that they would just come up with robot ideas like the Dinobots and the Insecticons. You know, in Japan they were all just sets of robots totally unaffiliated. Hasbro took these things like the Insecticons, Dinobots, and made them a thing in United States lore, you know, which is Transformers, the original G1 TV show. So now Takara's big problem here is just looking at the list. They kind of up till about, I want to say, MP10 was when they really started, okay, this is where we're going to get serious. Because if you go back and look at like MP1, that version of Convoy, he ain't pretty. But he's good, but he's not pretty. You know, and then the MP2 was the Ultra Magnus repaint of MP1, which Takara, quit with the stinking repaints. I get it if you're throwing out the repaints like MP11 Starscream. You threw out two repaints of him for Skywarp and Thundercracker, which originally MP3 was Starscream, MP6 was Skywarp, and MP7 was Thundercracker. I get it. I totally get it. MP8 was Grimlock, which is fine, but that was like back in 2009. But yeah, starting in 2003 with MP1, fine. You know, I missed the boat on a lot of these. That the only way I even managed to get all the masterpiece Transformers that I have, the literal masterpiece. Like I've got Megatron, Soundwave, I've got Rumble and Frenzy, Ravage and Buzzsaw, Laserbeak came with Soundwave. I even managed to get a hold of Ratbat without having to buy the black repaint of Soundwave, for crying out loud. Uh, Repaints I don't mind because you know you have, you know, Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker are all identical jets. Their transformations have always been exactly the same. Repaints are fine there. But they've been wasting so much time on repaints and redos. Like you know, MPs 17 through 19, Prowl, Blue Streak, and Smokescreen. They're all three the same, about the same dots and car. Prowl and Blue Streak are the exact same dots and car. That's fine. Then you've got Smokescreen, who's a racing custom of that car, which is that's fine. They were characters in the original show. That's fine having repaints of those guys. That I don't mind. What I don't get is, you know, you go through the list, you see, you know, Masterpiece Optimus Prime, Starscream, you know, Lambor, which is, I don't know why they called Sideswipe Lambor. I don't care. It's Sideswipe. Then you've got MP14, which is Red Alert, which is a repaint of Sideswipe. He was in the show in season 2. That kind of repaint I don't mind. Then you get into the territory. You've got an MP20 Wheeljack. You know, Wheeljack was in the Arc Crew. That's fine with me. But then you get up to MP23 and there's Exhaust, who is a repaint of Wheeljack. And I looked at this character and I said, who the flip is Exhaust? I don't know this character. He wasn't in the show. Now, granted, I give him leeway for like MP22 is Ultramach. You know, from Wheeljack you had MP20 Wheeljack, MP21 Bumblebee. That's fine. Bumblebee is one of the ones I would want. The MP22 is Ultra Magnus, which they threw in Ultra Magnus. He didn't even show up till the movie. He's still a character I want, which I even have him here in the truck, which, you know, he's one of the most recent ones I got. That's fine. I needed an Ultra Magnus for my collection. He was there. Then, you know, like I said, MP23 is Exhaust. MP24 Star Saber. Who are these characters? I mean, I'm going. Remember, this is my opinion, so these are characters I do not know. I watched the cartoons as a kid. I didn't get to collect comic books, and I didn't watch the Japanese shows that came after Transformers. So all my knowledge for many years was Transformers Generation 1, all the characters that appeared on TV. Those are the characters I want to collect. I get it if you like Star Saber. I don't know this character. I mean, I've got Tarn. I've got Iron Factory's Dubé, their little version of Tarn. So I'm not adverse to characters I've never seen and don't know the backstory of because they're going to be cool looking. I'm not too proud to admit it. I do like these characters. So then you go from there. What basically here's where the problem comes in. Okay, I've prattled long enough about the repaints and jumping around and which characters are which and why the hell is there a blue Ultra Magnus with a red head called Delta Magnus? Why the hell is there Masterpiece Trax who was in the show, and then there's a red repaint named Road Rage? Who are these characters? I mean, I'm fine with getting, and then not only that, but they're wasting space on this list with Beast Wars, because there's Optimus Primal, there's Cheetor, they've got Masterpiece Beast Wars Megatron and Masterpiece Dinobot, and in the next, MP46 is Black Arachnia, which that's fine, I get it. But you're wasting time. The reason why, Takara, that people aren't as interested in your Masterpiece line and they're more interested in the Masterpiece style third-party robots is because you are too busy farting around making characters that are just repaints. Repaints of repaints is what you're wasting your time on. And even still, the two biggest ones that everybody's anticipating is a $450 Optimus Prime figure, MP44, and then MP45 Bumblebee. What the hell did you do to his feet? And his face looks like he's about to do that whole Boss Nass crap. The hell? I don't need repaints and remolds. I don't need redos of Optimus Prime. MP10 was fine. In fact, I missed that bullet train completely and got the Magic Square third party Magic Square MSO1 Light of Freedom. And I love him because he was as cartoon accurate as I needed him to be without being overly so. But now you're coming out with MP44 for $450. Okay, remember that definition back there of the customer is always right? I am not spending close to $500 on a stinking Optimus Prime figure. I'm sorry. And he doesn't look that great. I mean, MP10 wasn't that great either, but he was cheaper. And then this oh my God, what'd you do to his feet, Bumblebee? I've got MP21. I don't need another Bumblebee. I'm having to go to third parties because they're the only ones bringing out the rest of the stinking ARC crew. All I got to do is write a love letter to Repro Labels, send them about $10, and they'll send me a couple of things of Autobot logos. And there I go. I'm happy because now I can slap a logo. Because, third-party figures don't come with the Autobot logos, but who cares? I can get Repro Labels. I can choose which Repro Labels I want on them. I don't have to be. I can be as picky or not picky as I want to be. Matter of fact, speaking of Repro Labels, I will be putting out as soon as I get off my lazy duff, and actually do the video. I will be putting out a Repro Labels special. So be watching for that, because I just show before and after. I don't show me putting on the labels or anything weird like that. Anyway, Takara, please. And Bobby Skullface said that you guys lost the Pokemon license. I'm sorry for your loss. I give absolutely no F's about Pokemon. What I do give a F about is Transformers. And I know that Transformers is your 25th most popular franchise. Pokemon was number one. Fine, the world's full of idiots. I didn't give a crap about Pokemon when they came out, and I still don't give a crap about them now. I know more than I probably need to about them. Like I said, this is my opinion. So keep your bull crap out of the comments. This is my opinion. I don't care about Pokemon. I was too old when they came out. I love Transformers because I was just the right age. I was I want to say about 7 or 8 years old when Transformers came out. And transforming cars, ooh, look at that. And you could have all the cash in my wallet, Takara. Where's my MPJs? Oh, that's right. I had to buy it from Make Toys. What about my masterpiece Hound? You guys haven't come. Oh, well, Make Toys got you again. They got my money again. I got the 2Y version of Gundog. All right. Well, what about what about let's say Brawn? Oh, Bad Cube. What about Huffer? Oh, Bad Cube again. I got their Brawny and Huff. What about Wind Charger? Oh, that's X Transbots. Wind Charger, X Transbots Boost. A masterpiece Wind Charger. Okay, well, what about Mirage? Oh, well, that's Ocular Max. Mastermind Creations Ocular Max line. I got Sphinx. He's on pre-order with Boost. I'm just waiting on them to show up in the store so they can mail them to the house. Now, don't get me wrong, the bulk of my art crew on both sides is Takara. Or at least as Takara as they could get, because, like I said, I showed up late in the game, so I'm ordering them off of eBay. I don't know if they're knockoffs. I can't honestly say. There's people have said there's ways you can tell, but all the ways you can tell, I've looked at mine, and maybe two of them qualified. Like my Soundwave, they said if he's got the articulated fingers, then it's a knockoff. Well, whoop-de flippin' do. So he's a knockoff. I still got my Soundwave. The ways they said you could tell. So my Sideswipe, he's got a crappy head that stays like this. No matter how much he'll still his head won't stay forward. But you look on his hood, down on his belly button area, and it looks like the official Lamborghini logo right there on the hood. So he's probably the real deal. I mean, I know knockoffs ain't allowed to put the Lamborghini logo on there. And then I thought, okay, so he's the real deal. He's got a crappy head and most of his joints are too loose. Okay, well, maybe my Red Alert is a knockoff. Nope. I looked at the actual factual version of him, compared the picture to the real thing, and he looks exactly like the real deal. I see people say, oh, well, if they got rubber tires, well, okay, some of mine have rubber tires, some don't. But then it turns out some of the real ones have rubber tires and some don't. I don't know. I'm new to this. And even if they are knockoffs, I don't stinking care, because they're about the exact same quality and they look good. All they're going to do most of the time is be standing on a shelf, posed like this in robot mode. As long as they look like the robots, what do I give a crap if they're a knockoff? In the long run, they were a lot cheaper anyway. But that's the point. Third-party companies are picking up the slack where Takara's just complete. You're so busy putting out a $450 Optimus Prime that you still have not given us a complete ARC crew, Takara. I would at least forgive you in a certain capacity if I had the ARC crew. You would have all my money. But you ain't getting all my money on one stinking figure, which is that MP Optimus Prime that you're coming out with, $450. Now I did some research, so you guys don't have to. What you need to know is I checked in Chinese currency and in Japanese currency. Okay, so $1 American or $1 whichever, because well, whichever one's the cheapest. So one Chinese yuan is worth 11 cents American. So I did the math on this. All right, so I can buy about nine. 9 times 11 is 99. So I could buy 9 Chinese yuan with $1 American and have a penny left over. Okay, so now just to give you one of the companies out of China that makes these third-party toys is Fans Toys. This is their version of Grimlock. This is Fans Toys Grinder. He is a very beautiful Grimlock. I am happy with him. He cost me $189. Extra 17 with the replacement head for the dinosaur head, because apparently the old head wasn't that great, so I just went ahead and bit the bullet and bought both at the same time. But he's nice and shiny. He's got that masterpiece look and feel. He's got all posable, individually articulated fingers. So there he is sticking his pinky out at you. I can make him give the finger. I can make him do the shocker. I can make him give the horns. And he came with the usual and the gimmicks. That's another thing Takara did right as far as I'm concerned. Throwing in the gimmicks. That thing from that episode, as Bobby Skullface always calls it. Which is and even some from the comic books, which I'm fine with. This Fans Toys Grinder came with the crown which I'm thinking is something they did with the original Grimlock. The original Masterpiece Grimlock did the same thing, I think. So yeah, I'm fine with that. They came with the little. He came with the little helmet thing, I think that was the Mech Fans Toys Legend size Grimlock that came with the little headpiece from that episode where he created Computron. But now stop and think about this. If they and a lot of these, so all right, so he was $189, which I need some air. So I'm sorry if you hear a fan noise, but it's raining outside, but it's hot in the truck. So I need some air. Anyway, so I did the math. At $189 American for Grinder, mathematically, that comes up to 1,718 Chinese, well, 1,718.181818, whatever that is mathematically. You math nerds could probably tell me. Anyway, so, and in Japan, I don't know if 100 yen is $1 in Japan. I'm not. What it is one Japanese yen or $1 Japanese, whatever their equivalent. I think 1 yen is like a penny. So I think 100 yen is $1. So 100 yen Japanese is worth 89 cents American. So I could take 89 cents and buy, one Japanese dollar. Okay, well now here's the question you got to ask yourself. When it comes to how much money are they making off me for buying their product, you have to look at, okay, if I go in a store and buy, like, say, a gallon of milk, I'm just going to use that. How much does it cost me in American money to buy a gallon of milk? It's relevant. Just follow along. Okay, if I go to China, how many yuan is it going to take to buy a gallon of milk? Is it going to take, over here in America, it takes anywhere from $2 to $4 to buy a gallon of milk. Okay, over in China, how many yuan does it take to buy a gallon of milk? So, does it take like 18 yuan, which is, like about 18 to 27 yuan, which is like 2 or 3 American dollars? Or if I go over there and pay 3 yuan, do I get a gallon of milk? That's the real question. So, what value are they getting out of me for for that figure? Because you got to think, it takes, they got to have a mold, they got to have materials, they got to have people to paint it and put it together. So after and they probably run like a sweatshop. I'm not gonna lie. I've got no problem with that because I don't live in China. But so after they pay their employees to make this stuff, and they charge me, I'm still using Grinder as the basis here. At $189 translated to 1,718 Chinese yuan. Okay, so how much value did they get out of me as far as that money goes? Would that be the same as giving me $1,718? Or is that like giving me $100? There's the question. Now, Japanese money is almost as valuable as our money. That was kind of the point. So, over in Japan, does it cost like 300 yen for a gallon of milk? Or how much money are they making off of this? And, they've lost one of their biggest licenses. They lost Pokemon. So, are they jacking up these prices trying to make up the difference for the money they're losing for losing out on the Pokemon franchise? That I have no idea. I have absolutely no clue. I mean, Takara is, well, they're a pretty big company over in Japan. But it's like, like I said, when with my definition of the customer is always right, I bought everything from Takara that I'm going to buy until they come out with something I need. Or actually, in this case, need. And I'm throwing that in quotes because I don't need Hound anymore. They're coming out with Hound, but I don't need him anymore because I have one and I'm happy with him. I don't need Jazz anymore. They've come out with one and I'm happy with him. Now I got all the season 2 bots of theirs that they have. Well, except for Grapple. It turns out I got Ocular Max Girder for cheaper. And I just needed a version of Grapple. I didn't need their version of Grapple. So really, in the context of collecting, if somebody else is filling that need, why am I giving my money to you? I mean, really. I didn't get Reflector from you guys. I got the bulk of my Decepticons from you guys, the art crew. But Reflector's my Reflector's the Make Toys visualizer. So now I don't need Reflector anymore. I have Reflector. I'm having to go almost full third party on my second season bots. I don't need Red Alert anymore. I got your Red Alert. But I don't need him now because I have him. I don't need Trax because I already got him. I don't need Inferno. I don't need Grimlock. I still need, Slag, Sludge, Snarl, and Swoop. But Fans Toys has got the nicest set I've seen. You guys, what do you have? Grimlock. I already got Grimlock. I got the Fans Toys version. So are you filling the need? Me being the customer, am I always right in that I need this figure? You don't have this figure, but this third party company does. And in a lot of cases, it's not just this third party company that has it, it's this third party company, and this third party company, and this third party company. And you guys are over here with your thumb up your butt without that character. I need the full cast. I don't need several versions. Now, here's another thing I need to explain to you. There are fanboys for every franchise, for every, I'm one of those rare few people that I love. Now, Transformers is the only series I always come back to. I might get tired of them and go wander off and get big into another franchise for a little while, like Ghostbusters, or I might get into Star Wars and be discussing that with people, but I don't buy the Star Wars toys. I've got no interest in the Star Wars toys. I do like the lore of the movies, most of them. Those new ones, you can take those and cram them. But that's the thing. I'm not interested in, as far as toys go, my franchise is Transformers. Those are the ones I'm going to purchase. Those are the ones I'm going to display on my shelf. And those are the ones I'm going to be proud as punch to show people, this is my Transformers collection. Look, behold. I'm even thinking about making dioramas for them, just some kind of background for the displays. I'm actually thinking about getting artsy fartsy and putting that much work into them. I like them that much. But that is my franchise. That is my nerdgasm. So you take that. I'm going to go with whoever's providing me with the pieces I want. And not only that, but I can I've already replaced one. I have two versions of Hot Rod as it stands right now. I have Takara's. Let's see, which one is it? I think it's MP29. No, it's MP28. I'm sorry. So yeah, it's MP28 Hot Rod, or Hot Rodimus as they call him. Seriously, what is it with these names? Okay, so I get it with the third party companies. They can't call their Hot Rod. So I have Fans Toys Hoodlum. Oh, he's such a little hoodlum. But he looks better than Takara's version. Now I've heard the arguments. I've seen Bobby Skullface's video where he compares Takara's to Fans Toys, and Fans Toys won by a nose. I'm looking at that and like, maybe I can put up with a lot more crap than you can, but to me the Fans Toys version is way better. And mostly on the aesthetics, but I mean, if I pose, Fans Toys Hoodlum on my shelf, he's going to look really, really good. Whereas, everybody makes fun of Takara's Hot Rod because he looks like he put on a cardboard poncho instead of having an actual chest that slims into a waist. Which I agree with that, because that's kind of the look. That's kind of the whole reason Fans Toys Hoodlum blows Takara's version out of the water for me, is exactly because of that. Because he doesn't look like he's wearing a cardboard poncho. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Now, I've not been totally thrilled with every third-party toy I've got. I've already replaced the Jazz that I had with, like I said, the Jazz that I have is Make Toys. I had Zeta Toys version, which Zeta, I'm gonna tell you right now, you came with Zeta Toys Jazz, you came that stinking close to me never buying another Zeta Toys as long as I flippin' live. That close, because it is a piece of crap. It is one of the worst pieces of crap I have ever. It was cheaper than Make Toys version, Downbeat. Make Toys Downbeat. But cheaper's not always better. I mean, I understand it used to be Toy World's Coolsville. And I'm looking at that and thinking, well, I'm glad I didn't buy it back when it was that one, or I would have never bought another Toy World toy as long as I live. Now I'm giving Zeta another chance after that, but still. Anyway, I don't want to ramble too much, but the point is, going by my definition of the customer is always right. You are not providing me with what I want. If the customer is always right, then I'm right to go spend my money with any third party company that has made a toy that I want. And it's not easy, as I've discovered being new to this. As I've discovered, a lot of times you have to strike while the iron's hot. Now I've been lucky and gotten in on a couple of reissues, specifically X-Transbots Boost and X-Transbots Arcos, which is their version of Beachcomber. God, what was another reissue? I think I got in on another reissue, but I can't remember it right off the top of my head. But Fans Toys is coming out with their version of Blitzwing, supposedly in the next couple of months. Well, I didn't feel like waiting on that, so I got KFC's Ditka. And I don't regret him, but he's got his problems. KFC, I'm going to tell you, I'm not sure I needed a Blitzwing that could double as a stinking boat anchor. He is that flipping heavy. I could sit here and just hold KFC's Ditka and pump iron. He's about 5 pounds, it feels like. He's heavy, and so heavy, in fact, it's hard to get him to stand up on his own. Which, that's fine. I could probably use like a stand to brace him or something, but I like my figures being able to stand without assistance. But he's a beautiful figure. I will not talk bad about the way he looks. He is beautiful. He can't really turn his head though. He's kind of stuck, yeah, because he's kind of got that neck piece that holds his head straight forward. So I'll have to get creative with the poses on him, but still. He's so heavy, as a matter of fact, that I joked with a couple of people that I could tie a rope around KFC's Ditka, tie the other end around somebody's ankle, throw him in the water, throw them off the boat after him, and drown him mafia style. So the third party toys aren't perfect. That's the whole point of that. They're not perfect, but they're close enough. And that's kind of what Takara's already set. Takara's already set the bar at close enough. And then some third party companies have met that bar, and some of them have even exceeded it. Because I'll be honest with you, Magic Square's Light of Freedom, he is my Optimus Prime. When my display shelf happens, that's who's going to be front and center on the art crew is Magic Square's Light of Freedom. That is my Optimus Prime. Now a lot of Takara ones. Now the reason why I didn't get an MP10, I could not find one to save my butt. I went all over every website, eBay, everywhere, looking for an MP10. And what I kept finding was MP10V, which is the smaller version I've showed you guys before. MP10B, which is the black repaint, which I like Nemesis Prime. You've seen my avatar. I like Nemesis Prime, but I don't want that repaint of Optimus Prime. He wasn't in the show. He didn't even show up until, what was it? Technically, the first time he showed up was Robots in Disguise as the black version. Now, he did show up in G1, but he was like a complete clone of Optimus Prime that was controlled by Megatron. So he wasn't his own autonomous, thing. Sorry, my allergies are still giving me crap. Anyway, but you get the whole gist. I don't want the repaints. I don't want the redos. I could give a damn about Beast Wars, which I don't. I like the cartoon, but I don't want the toys. My jam is G1, which I'm not talking crap about them for making the Beast Wars figures. But the problem is, Takara, sweetheart, you should be You should have two separate factories. One that's just pumping out the G1 Transformers, and one that's over here just pumping out the Beast Wars. Because I know, like I said about the fanboys earlier, I know the Takara fantards. They will buy whatever you throw on the market. But it's not them you have to talk into buying your product. It's me. I am not paying $450 for a flippin' Optimus Prime. I paid $129 for the Magic Square version. And oh wait, they didn't come out with a trailer. Okay, so what am I going to have to pay $100? So about $230 that it'll cost me all told maybe for the truck, trailer, and all. That's still half the price of yours. Come on. I'm not shelling out 400. And where's the extra money for? Is it for the stupid little gimmicks? Magic Squares came with his gun, his Energon axe, damaged windshields, and damaged bits for his waist. I'm fine with that. I don't need to stick a Starscream head on him from that episode where Starscream dressed in an Optimus Prime costume. I don't care. I'm happy with the minor gimmicks from, oh yeah, this happened in that one episode. The gimmicks ain't the big deal. I do like the gimmicks, don't get me wrong. But I don't need the gimmicks. I mean, the gimmicks are fine for, oh yeah, I do remember that episode, hurt, because, yeah, my KFC Ditka came with a little football that you can stick into his hand and have him hold. Oh, that's that thing from that episode where Blitzwing and Astro Train were having a competition to take over the Decepticons, and he took over a football stadium. And Ditka, oh, after Mike Ditka, the famous Chicago Bears coach from the 80s. Fine. I don't mind that. I mean, for crying out loud, Fans Toys is coming out with their version of Astro Train, and they're naming him Thomas. Yeah, I'm rolling my eyes over that, because I get it. Thomas the Tank Engine, fine. I don't even know what gimmicks he's going to come out with, but still. That's the whole problem, Takara, is give me the figures I'm looking for. Don't... I get that your fantards are going to buy anything you put out no matter the price, but that is not going to cover your costs. If you get people like me looking at this $450 Optimus Prime who looks a little too much like a stinking cartoon and going, no, my wallet is closed. I do not want this. And that Bumblebee with the jacked up feet and the bossing ass face. No, I do not want this. And for crying out loud, I'm talking about jacked up faces, and I've got Open Play Springer, like I said in the Repro Labels video that you guys haven't seen yet. He would be a lot better if his face didn't look like he just got done going, what you talking about, Willis? Fine, I can get a... there's people doing custom faces for him. I'll just buy one of those. He was $60. And he's great. He's a great toy. I mean, I've heard people talk crap about Open and Play, but there ain't no shame in my game. He was $50-something dollars, and I can actually play around with him, pose him. He's fully articulated. I can pose him, and I don't have to worry about chipping the paint or breaking his ass. So hey, win-win. He's cheaper, and I can actually fiddle with him. I'm not the kind that'll roll him back and forth on the floor and rum 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 or anything like that, but I'll sit there and flip him back and forth. When I'm bored and I ain't got nothing to... Hell, I've transformed a grinder there about 5 or 6 times already just to change him back and forth. Just something to do. So get your heads out of the clouds, man, and start making the toys. Please. I'm begging you. Because if you don't, I'm going to have an entire collection of third-party Transformers that ain't got nothing to do with Takara. I mean, I get that they're expensive, but like I said, how much am I willing to pay? If I'm willing to pay the close to $200 for Fans Toys Grinder, you got a chance to get my money. Hell, there's people coming into this that still, they're just now getting into it. 2003 was a long time ago. I get it. But, sometimes they'll do reissues of some of these toys, and sometimes people are selling their collection. Like, I got lucky with Bad Cube's Brawny. I bought him from RoboGeek uh, on the TFW 2005. Thank you very much, sir. He was one of the ones I needed, and he was a beautiful figure in very nice condition too. If it hadn't been for the fact that the tape on the open part of the box was broken, you could have fooled me, and I would have thought he was brand new, because packed in the box with the directions and everything. I would have never known the difference. You could have told me it was brand new, and I would have believed you. Bravo. That's the whole point of what I'm saying. Takara, get off your butt and make the stinking toys. Okay? Okay.